The desert sun had barely climbed over the horizon when Alex's rover shuddered to a stop at the lone gas station. Dust swirled around the cracked asphalt, and the old pumps groaned in the heat. He was halfway through filling the tank when a sharp, guttural cry split the morning air. He froze, the nozzle halfway to his rover. The sound wasn't human, or anything he had ever heard. It was deep, ragged, full of pain. He turned and saw it before he could even process. A massive creature lying sprawled across Pump 3, its wings dragging in the sand. Scales shimmered like molten metal under the rising sun, and its chest heaved with ragged breaths. Alex's heart pounded. "Holy, what are you?" he muttered. Before he could think twice, the creature convulsed. Sparks flew from the nearby fuel hose, igniting a thin ribbon of flame. Alex's instincts kicked in. He ducked low and grabbed a fire extinguisher, rushing to shield the gas nozzle from the worst of it. The creature let out another low wail, and this time, it shook violently. Dust, sand, and bits of rusted metal flew in all directions. It was huge, far bigger than any animal Alex had ever seen. Its eyes glowed faintly, amber and intelligent, scanning him as if pleading. There was no aggression, only desperation. Alex's mind raced. "I can't just stand here. I have to help it." He edged closer cautiously. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you," he said, though his voice sounded small against the roar of the desert wind. The creature hissed softly, a sound like steam escaping a hot pipe, and lifted its head just enough for him to see the gash along its side. Blood, dark and thick, seeped into the sand. Alex tore a piece of cloth from his shirt and pressed it to the wound. The dragon, or whatever it was, jerked, and for a terrifying moment, Alex thought it would lash out. But instead, it pressed closer, allowing him to bind the wound. His pulse raced, every instinct screaming caution. He had no idea what this creature was capable of, but he could see its pain, its trust, and somehow that mattered more than fear. A sudden pulse of energy jolted through the air. The creature's scales flickered, and every piece of electronics around, the pumps, the small solar panel, even his rover's dashboard, blinked and died. Alex stumbled back, shielding his eyes. The desert fell into eerie silence, save for the creature's soft, pained breathing. "What the hell?" Alex whispered. His fingers twitched over the rover's dead controls. Something about the dragon, he had to call it something, was not normal. This was no ordinary animal. Its body seemed to hum with a strange, faint energy that made the hair on his arms stand on end. He glanced around. The station was deserted, miles from any settlement. If he didn't act fast, the creature could die, or worse, attract the wrong kind of attention. He pulled a small toolkit from the rover, checking his limited supplies. First step, stop the bleeding. Second step, keep it calm. Third step, figure out what the hell it even was. The creature hissed again and shifted slightly. Its wings were tattered, and one claw scraped against the asphalt, sending sparks across the metal edge of the pump. Alex froze, realizing how easily the thing could be lethal without meaning to. But he couldn't back down, not when it was in pain and clearly desperate. He spoke softly, "I'm going to help you. Just stay still, okay?" The creature blinked slowly, almost in understanding, and lowered its head to the sand. Alex worked quickly, tying his shirt and bandages around its wound. When he finished, he stepped back, brushing sweat and dust from his brow. For a brief moment it was quiet. The desert wind picked up again, rustling sand and debris. Then a low, vibrating hum rolled through the ground. The creature lifted its head and exhaled a small puff of smoke. Its eyes focused on something behind Alex. He turned, heart hammering, to see a shadow on the horizon, moving fast, too deliberate to be natural. A mechanical glint caught the sun. Drones. Military style, armed and scanning. Alex felt a surge of dread. The last thing he wanted was attention, especially from something that could see this creature as a threat. The dragon twitched nervously, wings twitching, scales flashing with that strange light again. Alex glanced back at the approaching drones and then at the creature. "I can't let them take you," he said, his voice firm, decision already forming in his mind. He had no idea how, but he was going to protect it. As the shadow drew closer, the creature let out a sudden, shuddering cry, louder than before. The ground seemed to pulse beneath Alex's feet. Sparks danced across the pump's metal edges. The desert air shimmered with heat and raw energy, and Alex realized with a jolt of fear and awe that this creature was far more than just an animal. He grabbed the creature's wing gently but firmly. "Come on, we have to move," he said. The dragon hesitated, then leaned into his touch, trusting him completely. And then, just as he was about to take the first careful step away from the pumps, The desert floor under the creature's claw split with a low, deep rumble, sending a shockwave across the station. Dust erupted like smoke, and Alex stumbled back, barely catching the creature before it toppled again. He looked down at it, breathless. Its amber eyes locked onto his, and he felt the weight of its trust, its desperation, and the danger that now surrounded them. Somehow he knew this was only the beginning. Alex's mind raced as the desert tremor faded. He glanced at the creature, its wings quivered nervously, and the faint metallic shimmer across its scales pulsed with every shallow breath. The low hum in the air hadn't stopped. It felt alive, like the ground itself was watching. Then came the sound of distant engines, a harsh mechanical whine cutting through the desert silence. Alex squinted toward the horizon. 4 drones, sleek and black, hovered low, scanning the area with blinking red lights. They weren't here to observe, they were here to capture or kill. He gritted his teeth. Okay, we can't fight them, but we can outsmart them. He took a deep breath and looked at the creature, now struggling to lift its head. Its scales glinted like faint copper in the sunlight. Somehow, it knew he was human, and in that trust lay both hope and danger. Alex grabbed a coil of rope from the rover. We'll move fast, quiet if we can. He improvised a makeshift harness around the creature's torso, careful not to press the wound. Its skin was warm under his hands, surprisingly soft for scales so large. The dragon hissed, a low vibration that felt like it resonated through the sand itself. The drones were closer now, scanning, their red sensors cutting through the desert like knives. Alex could see the mechanical arms pivoting, ready to grab anything alive. His mind raced. He couldn't let them find this creature. If the drones tagged it, it would be gone in minutes. He tugged gently on the harness. Come on, this way. The creature hesitated, then rose unsteadily. Its wings dragged against the sand, leaving deep grooves behind, but it moved. Alex followed alongside, adjusting his grip, his pulse hammering in sync with the creature's shuddering movements. The first drone hovered overhead, scanning with a sharp beam of light. Damn it, Alex muttered. He glanced at the desert horizon and spotted a shallow ravine, jagged rocks forming a natural barrier. It wasn't far, maybe 100 meters. If he could get the creature there, the terrain might confuse the drones. As they moved, the dragon let out another shuddering cry, small sparks flickering from the edges of its scales. Alex froze. The energy pulse it emitted had just disabled his rover's sensors earlier. If he could guide that energy without getting caught, maybe they had a chance. The lead drone's lights swept over them. Alex ducked low, guiding the creature behind a rusted fuel tank. The drone's red beam passed over harmlessly, and he exhaled sharply. That was close. Too close. Keep moving, he whispered. The creature leaned into his touch, almost understanding. Its breathing grew steadier, though shallow. Alex felt a surge of hope. Small victory, but it was enough to keep moving. Suddenly, a second drone swept low from the opposite side, forcing them back into open sand. The creature panicked, its wings beating weakly, sending up sand and debris. Alex struggled to steady it. Hey, calm down. We're getting out of here. His voice was firm, but there was fear underneath. Every second they stayed in the open, the danger multiplied. The dragon let out a low, vibrating hum that shook the sand at their feet. The air shimmered with heat and strange light. Alex realized it wasn't just scared, it was reacting to the drones. Somehow, its energy pulses were instinctively defensive. He scanned the horizon. A pile of rusted metal, old vehicles, bent signs, scraps from forgotten times, lay to their right. He tugged the rope. Over there. Quick. The dragon obeyed, limping toward the cover. As they ducked behind the debris, the drone's sensors flared. One of the arms extended, scraping the sand. Sparks flew when it hit the metal pile, sending shards bouncing across the desert. The dragon hissed sharply, and Alex instinctively threw a piece of scrap toward the drone. It clattered noisily, drawing its attention. Another pulse of energy flickered from the dragon, short but intense, momentarily blinding the sensors. The drone wobbled, recalibrating. Small payoff. They had survived for now. Alex patted the dragon's neck. Good job, just a little further. His chest ached with tension, but he couldn't stop. Every second counted. They had to move before the drones adapted. The path to the ravine was treacherous. Sharp rocks, loose sand, and the creature's weak state made every step risky. Alex helped it step carefully, holding the rope tight while keeping an eye on the sky. A gust of wind kicked up sand, reducing visibility. He cursed under his breath, heart hammering. Every step was a gamble, but he couldn't fail, not when this life depended on him. Halfway there, the dragon stumbled, groaning in pain. Alex caught it, pressing his shoulder under its chest. Its glowing eyes met his. He felt the weight of trust, raw and unspoken. "You can do this," he said almost to himself. The dragon lifted its head, giving a weak but determined nod. Then a sharp, mechanical click sounded behind them. Alex spun around. A drone had landed, pivoting its arm toward them. It was closer than he realized, faster than he expected. Panic surged, but he forced his mind to focus. Improvisation, quick thinking. That was his only chance. He grabbed a rusted signpost, swinging it toward the drone's sensors. Sparks erupted. The dragon reacted instinctively, another pulse of energy flickering across the sand. The drone jolted and retreated slightly, giving them a few precious seconds. Alex looked at the dragon, now halfway to the ravine. His pulse raced. They had made progress, but the drones would regroup. He gritted his teeth. Almost there, keep going. And then the ground beneath them trembled again, harder this time. A low rumble rose from the desert floor, the sand vibrating under their feet. The dragon froze, ears flicking, eyes wide. Alex's stomach dropped. This wasn't just about drones anymore. Something else, something beneath the desert, was waking. He grabbed the rope and pressed close to the creature. "Whatever happens, stay with me." The rumble grew louder, faster, shaking dust from the sky. The desert seemed alive, and Alex knew with sudden clarity that the danger had just escalated far beyond anything he had imagined. The rumble under the desert had Alex clinging to the dragon, his hands tight around the rope. The creature, its breathing heavy and uneven, twitched nervously, its glowing scales flickering like embers. Dust billowed around them as the ground cracked faintly, small fissures spreading like veins in the sand. Alex's heart pounded. Whatever was down there wasn't natural. He knew they couldn't stay in the open. The ravine loomed ahead, jagged rocks promising cover but no safety from what might be rising beneath. The dragon hissed low, a sound vibrating through Alex's chest. Its wings flexed weakly, dragging against the sand, but it trusted him. That trust weighed on him like armor. He couldn't fail, not now. He guided the dragon toward the ravine's edge, careful to step over shifting stones. Each footfall sent tiny clouds of sand into the air, revealing faint, irregular lights beneath the surface. Alex froze, squinting. Faint geometric patterns glimmered through the desert floor, glowing just enough to hint at something buried beneath the sand. Structures? Devices? He had no time to think. The drones were still out there, circling and scanning relentlessly. A sudden pulse from the dragon shot through the sand, flickering across the exposed patterns. Alex stepped back instinctively. "What are you?" The creature's amber eyes locked onto him, and for the first time, Alex felt a spark of understanding. It wasn't just injured, it was reacting to something. Something alive, something intelligent, down below. He glanced up. The drones hovered overhead, sensors sweeping the ground like hunting blades. Any second now they could detect the faint pulses. Alex's mind raced. He had to move faster, smarter. "We need cover, now." He spotted a shallow crevice in the rocks, jagged enough to hide both him and the dragon. He guided the creature, tugging gently on the rope. The drone's lights swept over them just as they ducked into the shadowed crevice. One of its arms grazed the sand, sending sparks bouncing harmlessly off rocks. The creature hissed sharply, energy flickering along its scales. Alex pressed his palm to its neck. "Easy, we're safe here, for now." He tried to calm his own racing thoughts. Safe, but only temporarily. As the tremors beneath them grew, Alex noticed something extraordinary. The faint glowing patterns in the sand weren't random. They formed a network, lines connecting points beneath the desert floor, converging toward a distant ridge. He crouched, tracing the lines with his eyes. It looked like a map or a signal. Something ancient, hidden, waiting. The dragon shifted beside him, letting out a low, vibrating hum. Alex's stomach tightened. Whatever was buried beneath the desert, the dragon knew it. This was more than coincidence. Its energy pulses weren't just instinct, they were communication, guidance. And somehow the creature had chosen him. A sudden movement caught his eye. One of the drones had landed near the ridge, scanning, its mechanical arm extending in a slow, deliberate sweep. The desert beneath it rippled unnaturally as if sensing its presence. Alex clenched his fists. The drones weren't just here for observation, they were seeking something specific. He glanced at the dragon. Its breathing steadied slightly, a flicker of trust passing between them. "We're going after it," he whispered, voice firm. "Whatever you're leading me to, we'll get there first." The dragon tilted its head, letting out a low hiss that sounded almost like agreement. The path to the ridge was treacherous. Loose rocks, shifting sand, and the creature's injured wings slowed them. Alex improvised, using the rope as a support, helping the dragon over jagged edges. Every step was dangerous. One slip could mean both of them would tumble into the ravine. Yet, the creature persevered, driven by some unseen purpose, and Alex matched its determination with his own. Halfway there, a fissure in the sand suddenly split open. The dragon stumbled, sending a shockwave of energy through the surrounding area. Alex caught it, pressing his shoulder beneath its chest. Sparks of light flickered across its scales. He realized with a jolt that the pulses weren't random, they were reactive. The creature was interacting with the buried structure, awakening it, guiding it. Finally they reached the ridge. From this vantage point, Alex could see the outline of something massive beneath the sand. A domed structure, metallic and smooth, reflecting faint, unearthly light. It pulsed in sync with the dragon's scales as if alive. His stomach dropped. This wasn't just an alien artifact, it was a living system and the dragon was a part of it. A drone swooped low, scanning the ridge, and Alex realized the stakes had escalated far beyond anything he had imagined. He grabbed a loose rock and flung it at the drone, drawing its attention. Sparks flew, and the drone jerked violently, but the pulse from the dragon disrupted its sensors more effectively than the rock. Alex exhaled sharply. Small payoff, momentary safety, but he knew this was temporary. The dragon hissed, wings quivering, and Alex felt a surge of awe. It wasn't just a creature, it was a sentinel, a messenger, and perhaps a key to something far larger than the desert or the drones or even humanity itself. A low hum began to rise from the structure beneath them, vibrating through the ridge into Alex's bones. The dragon's amber eyes locked onto his. It was a silent warning and a plea in one. Alex swallowed hard. They had uncovered something monumental, something alive, something powerful. And as the ground trembled beneath them once more, Alex knew one thing for certain. The real danger, and the real discovery, had only just begun. The low hum from the buried structure grew louder, vibrating through Alex's chest and making the rocks underfoot tremble. The desert seemed alive now, pulsing in rhythm with the dragon's glowing scales. Sparks danced along its wings as it struggled to remain upright, wings tattered but determined. Alex's heart raced. The drones weren't just following, they were ready to strike. "They'll never leave us alone," he muttered, gripping the rope. "Not until they know what this is." The dragon's amber eyes flickered toward him as if understanding. Alex swallowed his fear. This wasn't just survival anymore, it was protection. Something bigger than either of them depended on their success. From the ridge below, one of the drones descended, arm extending, its sensors locking onto the dragon. Red lights scanned the creature, sending it into a defensive tremor. Sparks from its scales flashed in response, flickering across the desert like lightning. Alex realized he had only moments. He had to act, and fast. He scanned the ridge for anything useful. Rusted metal beams, broken fuel canisters, scattered rocks. Enough to create distractions and leverage. He grabbed a length of steel pipe, hefting it with both hands. "Stay behind me," he shouted to the dragon, even though it didn't need the command. It pressed close, muscles coiled, ready. The first drone fired a non-lethal pulse at them. Alex ducked instinctively, swinging the pipe at the beam above. Sparks erupted, catching the drone's sensors in a blinding flash. The dragon hissed and released another energy pulse. The ground beneath the drone shivered violently, and the machine wobbled, faltering for a moment. Small victory. Alex felt a surge of adrenaline. The second drone swooped in, faster this time, scanning. Alex glanced around and noticed the fractured desert floor, fissures glowing faintly in response to the dragon's energy. He tugged on the rope, guiding the creature toward one of the cracks. The dragon hesitated, but his grip was firm. "We have to keep going," he urged. As they neared the fissure, a third pulse shot from the dragon's chest. The energy spread through the cracks, arcs of light shimmering along the desert floor. Rocks lifted slightly, a brief shockwave that sent sand flying at the drones. One spun away, sensors flickering, its systems temporarily disabled. Alex's heart leapt. They were surviving. They were winning. But only just. A sharp clang echoed from the ridge. Alex spun. Another drone, larger and more advanced, hovered above, scanning directly at him. It extended a clawed arm, sending sparks bouncing off the rocks. The dragon hissed, wings flaring, but this time its energy flickered uncertainly. Alex realized it was exhausted, struggling to maintain the pulse. No time for fear, he muttered, adjusting the rope. He needed to do more than dodge. He had to fight smart. He grabbed another piece of scrap metal, slinging it toward the drone's sensors. Sparks and debris flew in all directions, blinding the machine momentarily. The dragon surged forward instinctively, pulse flaring one last time, short but intense. The drone wobbled violently, retreating from the ridge. Alex exhaled sharply, sweat stinging his eyes. Small payoff, but the battle wasn't over. The structure beneath them hummed louder, almost as if reacting to the chaos above. Alex glanced down. The faint lines in the desert were now glowing more brightly, converging toward the central dome. He realized with awe that the dragon wasn't just defending, they were activating something. Almost there, he whispered, tugging on the rope again. The dragon limped forward, wings dragging, amber eyes locked on the glowing center. Alex adjusted his stance, helping it over jagged rocks, dodging falling sand and sudden tremors. His muscles burned, heart racing, but he didn't stop. Every step mattered. The lead drone returned, faster this time, scanning with lethal precision. Alex grabbed a long metal pipe and jammed it into a crevice, prying a rock loose to create a sudden avalanche of debris. Sparks and dust blinded the drone, forcing it to retreat temporarily. The dragon responded instinctively, releasing a short but sharp pulse that lit the desert floor like lightning. The drone faltered, wobbled, then disengaged. Small payoff, but they still had one final obstacle. The central dome of the buried structure loomed ahead, glowing brighter than ever. Alex felt a pulse through his chest as the dragon approached, energy radiating from it in waves. Its wings trembled violently, scales flashing like molten metal. He pressed close, holding the rope firmly. We're almost there, just a little further. Suddenly, the desert floor beneath the dome shuddered violently. A fissure opened wide and the dragon stumbled, wings scraping the edge. Sparks erupted from the ground, sand erupting like a geyser. Alex lunged, catching the creature before it could fall. They tumbled together, sand covering them, the hum of the structure filling the air. The dragon's amber eyes met Alex's, wide and glowing with something more than fear, trust, understanding, and determination. It pressed closer, resting its head lightly against his shoulder. Alex felt a surge of emotion, awe mixed with relief. Against impossible odds they had survived. Against drones, collapsing terrain, and the unknown humanity had endured. And then a pulse of energy rolled outward from the dragon, brighter than ever. The central dome responded, shimmering and vibrating, arcs of light racing across the desert floor. Alex's jaw dropped. Whatever the structure was, whatever the dragon had awakened, it was alive, and aware of them. The drones hovered back at a cautious distance, retreating for now. Alex swallowed hard. They had won this battle, but the stakes had escalated far beyond anything he had imagined. The desert hummed around them, alive with a strange, unearthly energy. The dragon exhaled, wings trembling, and Alex reached up, resting a hand on its scaled neck. "We made it," he whispered. "But this isn't over." From beneath the dome, a faint signal pulsed, synchronized with the dragon's heartbeat. Amber light flickered across the sand, and Alex felt a shiver of awe. Something, or someone, was waiting. Watching. And now they had been noticed. The desert trembled again, stronger this time, as if the world itself had shifted under their feet. Alex's chest tightened. The adventure, the danger, and the mystery weren't finished. Not even close. The dragon's amber eyes locked onto his once more, and Alex knew with certainty. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The desert was quiet now, almost eerily so. The tremors had faded, and the hum of the buried structure beneath the sand had softened to a low, steady pulse. Alex knelt beside the dragon, its wings folded weakly against its sides. Amber scales flickered softly in the morning light, a heartbeat of energy that had guided them through chaos. For the first time, the adrenaline in Alex's chest began to subside, leaving room for awe and relief. "You made it," he whispered, brushing dust from its metallic scales. The dragon pressed its head against him, huffing warm, smoky breaths that carried both exhaustion and gratitude. Alex couldn't explain why he felt such a deep connection to this creature, only that he did. Its survival was his responsibility now, and he would honor that trust no matter the cost. But there was no time to linger. The desert stretched endlessly in every direction, and the drones that had threatened them were still somewhere out there, regrouping. Alex's mind raced as he scanned the horizon. If they moved quickly, they could reach a safer location. Somewhere the desert's jagged canyons could hide them, at least temporarily. He tugged gently on the rope. "Come on, we have to move," he said. The dragon hesitated, still weak from injury, but then leaned into his guidance. Step by careful step, they navigated the uneven terrain, Alex supporting it whenever it faltered. With every movement he felt both the weight of responsibility and a quiet surge of pride. Against impossible odds they had survived. And yet, survival alone wasn't enough. As they crested a low ridge, Alex paused. Below, the buried structure's central dome shimmered faintly, lines of light pulsing across the desert floor like veins. Something had awakened, responding to the dragon's energy, and to him. He realized with a shiver that they hadn't merely survived, they had set something ancient in motion. Something alive, intelligent, waiting. The dragon stirred beside him, eyes brightening slightly. It raised its head and let out a low, resonating hum. Alex listened, fascinated and wary. It wasn't a threat. Not now. It was communicating, and though he couldn't understand the sound, a strange clarity settled over him. This creature, this alien sentinel, had chosen him. Together, they had altered the course of whatever force slept beneath the desert. A sudden clatter behind them snapped Alex's attention to the ridge. One of the drones had returned, circling cautiously. Its sensors scanned the ridge, red lights cutting through the desert haze. Alex's pulse quickened. They weren't safe yet. But now he had an idea. Using the rocks and debris around them, he began to improvise. A rock tumbled down the slope, drawing the drone's attention, while another pulse of energy from the dragon flickered across the sand. The machine hesitated, wobbled, and then retreated, sensors blinded. Alex exhaled, shoulders sagging with exhaustion. They had survived the immediate threat. But what lay beneath the desert was still a mystery, alive, intelligent, and now aware of them. He knelt beside the dragon again, hands brushing the faintly glowing scales. "You trusted me," he said softly. "I won't let anyone or anything hurt you. Not now. Not ever." The dragon let out a short hiss, almost a whisper, and nudged his shoulder. Alex smiled weakly. For the first time in days there was no panic, no immediate danger, just quiet, shared understanding. Humanity's courage, its resilience, and its willingness to act in the face of impossible odds had made the difference. Alone he would have been powerless. But together, human and dragon had survived. The desert air shifted, carrying a faint, almost musical pulse from the structure below. Alex felt it in his chest, resonating with the dragon's energy. He realized that their actions had consequences far beyond the immediate danger. They had awakened something ancient, something watching, something that might shape the future. A thrill of anticipation ran through him. There would be more to discover. More to protect. More to understand. He rose slowly, brushing sand from his clothes. The dragon rose beside him, wings shaking but lifting slightly with each attempt. Alex supported it as best he could. They began to move toward a nearby canyon, where shadows could shield them from prying eyes and sensors. Every step was careful, deliberate, but he felt a quiet confidence growing. They had faced danger, outsmarted machines, and survived an ancient power. They could face more. Together. As the canyon widened before them, Alex's gaze fell on a small shard of alien material that had broken from the structure beneath the desert. Faint lines pulsed across it, a signal he didn't yet understand. He picked it up, examining the strange patterns. The shard seemed to respond to the dragon's energy, flickering with recognition. A small thrill of realization struck him. This was not just a piece of debris. It was a message, and he was meant to receive it. He pocketed the shard and looked down at the dragon. "We're just getting started," he said, voice firm. The creature lowered its head in response, almost knowingly. Alex felt a shiver of excitement, and a weight of responsibility. Humanity's courage had carried them this far, but the adventure, the challenge, and the unknown were far from over. A faint pulse from the shard flickered again, synchronized with the dragon's heartbeat. Alex's stomach tightened. Whatever was out there, whatever force they had awakened, was aware now. And it had sent a message, one that only he could decipher. He turned his gaze toward the horizon, toward the endless desert that stretched beyond. Danger, mystery, and discovery awaited, but Alex felt ready. He had faced machines, ancient powers, and impossible odds, and he had prevailed. Human courage, intelligence, and empathy had carried the day. The dragon nudged his side again, amber eyes gleaming. Alex smiled. Together they would uncover the secrets beneath the desert. And whatever came next, humanity would shine. The desert wind shifted, carrying a faint hum that promised both challenge and adventure. Alex tightened his grip on the rope, chest rising with determination. This was just the beginning.